this is a very strange story, but also one that isn't entirely surprising. Released just over a year ago, Google Stadia is a superb idea in theory. Having tested it, the service offers relatively low latency gaming streaming options and the chance to play games on almost any device, but it's been plagued by problems surrounding the service since its inception. For example, you can't easily play Stadia on an iPhone, nor can you use almost any device as was the promise. Games are full price despite you never actually owning them, and that means that there's no data your end, so that if Google decide to shutter Stadia, you lose your purchases, and yeah, that's a problem given that Google has a history of starting and ending services at an alarming rate. But Stadia attracted big names. Phil Harrison is the general manager, and he spent years at Microsoft in the Xbox division, and Google also grabbed Jade Raymond to work on Stadia exclusive games. Formerly of Ubisoft, Raymond was the executive producer on classics like Assassin's Creed 2 and Splinter Cell Blacklist. And, well, it seems we may never get to see what game Raymond or any of the other Stadia exclusive developers were actually working on, because Google is shutting down its internal game studios dedicated to Stadia. In a blog post, Harrison explained the situation and says the company is committed to finding new roles for the people who were working on these games. As for Jade Raymond, however, she's decided to move to pastures new, again. And we say again as she's had really bad luck with shipping games since leaving Ubisoft. Obviously, this news can be taken in two ways. Firstly, it could be seen that Stadia is doomed and they're closing down studios to save spending money on titles that won't sell. Or perhaps it's that they're making loads of money on third-party games like Cyberpunk 2077 because the service does work well if it's something that you're interested in. And it does currently have an exclusive in the form of Crater, a fun little title that lets you make your own games within the game and play with a decent-sized community. But it'll be very interesting to see what Google Stadia does next, as new games are still coming to the platform and new features are still supposed to be rolling out. To find out what's new and next, keep it locked to NME.com.